see here, there's a couple attorneys that are by Zoom. Let me add them to the Zoom here. Mr. Hunter, are you able to hear us okay? You're muted, Mr. Hunter.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And thank you for letting me hear about that.
I hope you feel better. I understand you're a little under the weather.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Judge.
And Mr. Hughes, are you able to hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you for accommodating, Judge. I've got the same thing that's going around, and I appreciate you letting us appear visit.
I hope you feel better as well. Mr. Whitney, are you able to hear us?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Now, I apologize. I'm in a courtroom that's usually not mine, and there's so many lights that if I'm just glaring at you through this, it's just all these lights reflecting off of me, so I apologize about that. Anyway, let's get going. This is case number 2018 CA 5321, starting with the plaintiffs here in the courtroom. Let's take appearances, please.
Gregory Anderson, Jennifer Anderson, Nick Whitney, Samantha, I don't know if Samantha Lawrence is there, Jack Kowalski appearing, Tom
Elliott.
Amy Ferrier.
It looks like Miss Anderson is by Zoom now, and
she is.
okay, great. Defense counsel.
Yeah, for Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospitals, Chris Altenberg, Pat Pauls, and Ethan Shapiro.
And I understood Mr. Turfs was going to be here. Is he?
I spoke with him, Judge. He was just right
Is
out
he
there.
back with? So juror number one is here.
Yes.
Why don't you go get Mr. Turfs? And just leave juror number one where he is for the moment. Yeah, Mr. Turfs is the attorney.
Your Honor, do you want us to make room here for Mr. Turfs? And
I was going to put him over in the jury box. Figured that was an appropriate place for him to go.
Judge, while we're waiting, I understand we sent a judgment in, proposed judgment in today. It apparently was sent in as agreed. It's not agreed. Mr. Altenberg and I have talked about it. I think we're very close. We have one or two things to resolve. I mean, and of course, obviously, the numbers could change. We appreciate that.
Well, that's down the road.
Yes.
Let's.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct. Apparently, it had gone. I haven't even seen it. Apparently, it went in as an agreed or unobjected to, and that's not. It's mostly accurate, but it's not completely accurate.
And I see Mr. Turfs is here. So, and you are representing juror number one.
Yes.
And ultimately, Mr. Turfs, when you speak, because there's no microphone over there, I'll need you at some point to go over to the lectern if you need to speak.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are here on the juror interview. Mr. Altenberg, you seem like you want to.
I've got two more appearances. I forgot counsel in Baltimore, and so Terry Williams and Derek Steichwalder are here as well.
I don't see them.
They need to be admitted.
They probably need to be admitted.
Gosh. Okay, what are their names again?
It should show as Kerry Williams and Derek Steichwalder.
You think with all the glare off of this, all these lights, I can see it's Kerry Williams?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see that name. Could it be a different first name?
I doubt it.
Well, I mean, is it a she or he?
It's a she.
Maybe they're both with the same standard.
It would be whatever they put in.
Yeah, do you see a Derek? They could be in the same room.
And what's the other name again?
Its first name is Derek, D-E-R-E-K, and it's Steichwalder, S-T-I-K-E, etc.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to call them and see what their name on their Zoom is?
Ask them what they're Zoom.
Because there's quite a few folks on Zoom.
On Zoom.
I will send an email right now, Judge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind promoting them to a, oh. Let's see. There's a Samantha Lawrence, so I'm assuming you want her to be promoted to a panelist?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I don't see names, so I just need to know whatever name they are on the Zoom for me to be able to promote them to be a panelist. Any other, well, let me go ahead and go over the ground rules while we wait for that information. We are here on the juror interview. I will be asking the questions. I want to make it clear that I'm not going to ask any questions associated with the jury deliberations, the thought process associated with juror number one's view of the evidence, or anything having to do that would inhere in the verdict. The only topics we will address are those four that I put in the original order, granting the limited juror interview. I'll ask the questions. At the conclusion of the questions that I ask, I'll have juror number one go back to wherever he is right this second, and then I'll let you, out of his presence, suggest any further questions that you think that I might need to ask based on this juror's answers at the time. So we all understand what we're doing today?
Yes, sir.
Now, I do have, and not exactly sure how I'm going to get it for the folks on Zoom, but two exhibits. So give this to the clerk, Mr. Turfs, the defense and the plaintiffs, and then put one on the witness stand. And just pull off the little yellow sticky when you give it. And what they are for Mr. Hunter, Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Whitney, and Ms. Anderson, and Ms. Lawrence is the court exhibit number one is juror number one's questionnaire that he filled out. I redacted his address, and
That's cleaner.
court exhibit number two is the docket from that 2002 Broward case that was referenced in the defendant's motion for juror interview. And for the witness stand, you can pull off the paper clip off of it.
Your Honor, this is David Hughes. I'm sorry to interrupt. I did hear back Derek Stike-Leather, or his email, dstike, he says it would be, and for Ms. Williams, it should be Carrie Williams or C. Williams at her email address.
Are they able to see me in the audience right this second?
I'm being told that Mr. Stike-Leather is in Judge Carroll's personal meeting room.
Okay, because if I suspect what he is on, because I have a normal Zoom and I'm using the webinar feature that we use throughout the entire trial, which is different than what I use for all my other cases. So I suspect that's the issue.
Okay.
Because he would be able to see me right this second.
Okay. I'll see if they can just watch on TV. I assume the proceedings are being televised.
My understanding is Law&Crime is live streaming this, and any number of other social media outlets are also broadcasting it live. I don't make any representation as to what they're doing or what they're not doing. But I'd like to proceed if that's okay with the defense. You're shaking your head yes, so.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions about what we're going to do, or are we ready to bring in juror number one?
None on behalf of plaintiff.
On behalf of defense.
Lieutenant, if you can go grab juror number one, please.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God, I do.
Hey, welcome, sir.
Greetings.
And I know we're in a different courtroom and a different courthouse than the last time I saw you, and I appreciate you coming today. I would assume you understand why we're here today.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Right in front of you, I've got a couple of sheets of paper. The first one that I put on where it says Court Exhibit Number 1, I just want to confirm that is, in fact, the questionnaire that you filled out. I think you were on day one, so it would have been September 14th of 2023.
Yes, Your Honor, it appears so, yes.
And then the second sheet of paper behind it is a docket sheet, and I'll tell you, I just printed it out a few days ago off of the Broward County Circuit's website, so it's whatever was publicly available, involving a 2002, so more than 20 years ago, a 2002 filing by what appears to be your then wife. Is that Aileen?
Yes, correct.
Now, I mean, I've sat in the family law division, so I know how to read this docket sheet. What it looks like is your then wife filed, because it looks like you probably had minor children between the two of you, a UCCJEA affidavit was filed, and there were some allegations. You were served with the petition, and then she never showed up for the hearing. That's what I read off of this.
That is correct.
Now, here's where I'm going to go with my questions. There seems to have been some sort of reference to child allegations involving this petition. So was there any sort of involvement by DCF more than 20 years ago in this case? When I say this case, the 2002 case.
No, there was not.
And at the time in 2002, did you have, how many minor children did you have?
2002?
2002.
That would have been 3.
Were any of your children sheltered by DCF or whatever the entity was called at the time?
None, no.
There was, on the questionnaire, whether you had any strong opinions about DCF. So do you have, let me go back. On September 14th, 2023, did you have any opinions, strongly held opinions about DCF?
No, I did not.
How about the government's ability to remove children from the care of their parents?
No opinion at all.
I'm going to switch gears on you, sir, and go to another topic. There was an allegation in the defendant's motion that somehow your current wife either was represented by an attorney by the name of Deborah Salisbury or was involved in a case that included Deborah Salisbury. My question to you is this. Back on September 14th, 2023, did you know who Deborah Salisbury was?
No, I did not.
When did you first learn, if at all, when or who Deborah Salisbury is?
When something was filed by the defense attorneys.
Has attorney Deborah Salisbury ever represented you?
Never.
And to the best of your knowledge, has attorney Deborah Salisbury ever represented your current wife?
No, she has not.
And when I say your current wife, when did you all get married? Not to put you on the spot.
Yes. I had it on a tattoo of a hippo on my arm, but it's covered. 2016?
Okay. Have you ever been in any sort of proceeding where Deborah Salisbury was around, to your knowledge?
Never.
I'm going to change gears on you and go to another topic, sir. The court gave repeated instructions during the trial not to have any conversation about the case, don't learn any information. In fact, I think on the very first day, I told the assembled group that you couldn't even talk to your spouse or partner about the case. And if they asked, that you were to say that Judge Carroll's a meanie and doesn't allow me to talk about this case. Were you able to follow that instruction throughout the entirety of the case until the time that you were discharged as a juror?
Yes, I was.
At any time until the time that you were discharged, right the day before Veterans Day or whatever day that was when we discharged you, at any time before that date, did you speak with anyone that would include your wife concerning anything having to do with this case?
No, I did not.
Now, the motion indicates that a person who appears to be your wife, and I'm assuming it is your wife, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was following the trial on various social media platforms and on one day came to court. Okay. Are you able to tell me for sure that your wife or no one else, no one gave you any information about this case at all?
Yes, correct, Your Honor. No one, and I did not seek out any information on this case.
Now, slightly different, did you obtain any information about this case from any source outside of the courtroom at
No.
any time before you were discharged as a juror?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Let me ask you directly. There was an allegation that you may have gone online and looked at Dr. Kirkpatrick's website. Did you do that?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Did you ever observe Dr. Kirkpatrick's website, even if you did not type out the information to drive the computer to his website?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, sir, what I'm going to ask you to do is to go back and sit where you were. I'm going to talk with the lawyers outside of your presence, and we might have some more questions for you in a few minutes, okay? Okay, juror number 1 is out of our presence. I have, as I told you in the order allowing the limited juror interview, and as I said this a few moments ago, after I asked my questions, I was going to open it up to see if there were other questions, so I'll just go to the defense. Are there topics that, within those 4 issues that I'm allowing, that I need to dig farther on?
Your Honor, I only have really an area of inquiry as to the October 30th when his wife
Okay,
was...
I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you go to the...
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
So I'm only have a handful of questions, I think, about October 30th when his wife was in the courtroom. It seems to me that if I was on a jury and my wife showed up in the courtroom, I'd be surprised. And so, I mean, did he have any conversations about her planning to attend before she did attend? And then, I guess the next question has to be, did he actually see her in the courtroom sitting on the what I'll call the plaintiff's side of the courtroom? Did that cause them to have any verbal or nonverbal communication with one another in the courtroom? Did they have lunch with one another that day? Did they have any discussion at all about her attendance at the court at the end of the day? And the only final question I would have would be whether or not he discussed anything about the testimony of Detective Graham, either before that testimony or afterwards.
The Detective Graham issue, I mean, I've ruled on that.
Okay.
The
I thought that was still open, but if you ruled on it, that's fine.
right, well, I mean, I think what I said was the fact that his wife posted that he's going to have questions. I think I said that this is almost as certain as death and taxes that this witness or that this juror was going to have questions.
I realize that.
Yeah, so
I prefer the question, but if you don't want to give it, that's fine. So thank you.
plaintiffs, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, we object to all of these. We do not see the relevancy to them. The witnesses already testified that he did not have any communications with his wife about the trial. The court's order, none of the instructions said, and you have to remain mute to your spouse. You can have no conversations whatsoever. You can't even look at her, presumably is one of the questions in the courtroom, or shake your head or smile. We believe that these questions are completely inappropriate and lead us nowhere towards what we understand the court's inquiry and what you're seeking here.
I'll go ahead and ask, I think, one or two of them. I'm not going to ask all of them, but Mr. Turfs, was there anything that?
No, yeah.
Okay, let's bring them in real quick.
And to be clear, this is during the trial.
Okay, sir, you understand you're still under oath?
Yes.
Just a few more follow-ups. Apparently, your wife showed up in court on October 30th. That was the day before you dyed your hair, if I remember correctly. Well, your hair went orange
Yes.
for Halloween, I assumed. Okay, but let me go back to the day before that. Did you see your wife in court that day?
No, I did not.
Did you have any knowledge prior to October 30th that she was going to court?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
She told me that morning that she wants to go and sit in court, and I said, fine with me, and that was the end of the conversation.
Now, so you said you didn't see her in court.
Because of my eyesight, With my readers, because of my diabetic retinopathy, I only see figures in the gallery right now. I can't ID anybody.
Well, here's where I'm going with my ultimate question. I hear that you say you didn't see your wife, but I want to make sure, was there any sort of nonverbal contact or nonverbal communication from your wife to you about this case?
No, there was not.
Okay. Thank you, sir. If you could go have a seat. And Mr. Altenburn, based on how he answered those questions, I didn't ask some of those others because either benign contact, not about the case.
I'm not asking for additional questions.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, may I excuse juror number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, on behalf of plaintiff.
Yes.
Okay. We can let him go if he wants to leave the building. That's fine. I'm going to hear further arguments from the lawyers. Mr. Terps, if you want to stay around, that's fine, or if you want to leave with him, that's fine too. But juror number 1 is free to go if he wishes to leave at this point. If he wants to come and sit in the audience, he's free to do that, or come sit here. It's totally up to him. Let's move those 2 documents in as courts exhibits 1 and 2. You absolutely may. Okay. But he is now excused from his subpoena, and he's free to go whenever he wishes to go. Okay, closing arguments at this point on the defendant's motion for new trial, which is at DIN 3742. And since it was the defendant's motion, I'll let the defense make any arguments you wish to make at this point, if any.
So based on the testimony, it comes down to a credibility call for you to make on what he said here. And I've asked for questions. We'd like to have gone to the things on the other area, but I believe you've made a clear ruling on that, so there's no reason for me to argue further on that. I do believe that those things weren't bound by a 15-day and that we had good cause for why we did it somewhat later, but we've ruled, so thank you.
Thank you. Plaintiffs?
The court essentially wrote our argument on the January 2nd, 2024 order. Your Honor, it's time to put this to bed. There was no ambiguity in the witness's testimony. He was straightforward and looked at the court. I would note for the record, at least I recall that the witness used reader glasses at times during the proceedings if he had something important to see here. And there's no reason to doubt this gentleman's honesty and integrity and the answers to his questions. So we ask that their motion be denied.
Court has before defendant's motion for new trial based on juror misconduct, which is at docket identification number or DIN 3742. There were various supplements. Certainly the record is going to reflect the various different supplements, responses, interim orders, reconsideration, orders on reconsideration. At the end of the day, the defense has failed to demonstrate any juror misconduct. The court will therefore deny the motion for new trial based on alleged juror misconduct. That concludes the juror interview. I certainly still have a number of motions pending that we argued before the court on December 15th. Those remain pending, and I still need to address those. So my hope is that on or before Monday, January 22nd, that I will have answers to all of those outstanding motions, one way or the other. You know, my hope is to do it before then, but I'm giving myself a little more than 2 weeks to go through those motions now that the juror issue has been taken off the table, and I can focus on those because I've been spending all my time on the juror misconduct allegations. So that is my plan on a going forward basis. Are there any questions, concerns, things we need to address in the interim?
Yeah, the only thing I'd comment is that I was going to check with the court reporter to see whether there was going to be a trial transcript anytime soon. And I did not do that this morning, but I will check on that tomorrow and provide the court with information on
I appreciate it.
Your Honor, there was pending a plaintiff's motion for sanctions, motion to strike and for sanctions dealing with the disclosure of the witness's home. Having spoken to new counsel, I'm deferring to them as to the argument on that. So I'll with that and nothing further.
Well, my recollection is where we left it is both sides wanted to see how the court was going to rule on these various motions for new trial before deciding whether you wanted to schedule hearing time to address the sanction motions or not. That was where I thought we had left it.
You're absolutely correct, Your Honor. This was a separate one recently filed, and if the court wants to put them in that category, that's, depending on what Mr. Turf wants to do, but that's fine with us.
Well,
This one just seemed to be oriented towards this matter with this juror, and so
I want to invest my time in addressing the motions for new trial and JNOV and those motions, because one way or the other, I want to have an answer for the parties, whether we're doing a new trial or if we are or entering a judgment, whatever it turns out to be. I think you want the answer, and I want to give you that answer as soon as I possibly can.
we agree with the court's reasoning.
Anything else from any of the lawyers?
it. Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we will be in recess. I appreciate everyone being here.